Welcome into Sports Memo's opening line report, NFL edition with Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome into the podcast. How you doing?
Hey, great to be here, Drew. I've had better Mondays, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right, man. And, excited to get after this podcast, one of, if not the most popular podcast we have on the channel. So, guys, if you're listening right now, Apple iTunes, the YouTube channel, and at sportsmemo.com, all three work. And, Teddy, before we get into the opening line report podcast here, we got Miami versus Pittsburgh. We're filming this on Monday, so this is the Monday night game tonight. Any quick thoughts here? 43.5 being the total. Looks like about 14. That's Pittsburgh laying at home.
I'm not even close to getting involved in tonight's game. Look, I mean, the Dolphins have played competitive football the last 2 weeks. Last week they brought it against a divisional rival. Mm-hmm. And they still lost by double digits. They were still, this close to losing by 17 and not even covering the number in that ball game. Remember, I don't know if you remember the play where Fitzmagic didn't handle a snap particularly well, and it was bouncing around for like 10 seconds near their own goal line. He fell on it, and they only lost by 10. But when you take Miami, those are the types of things that are going to happen. You know that going in. The Dolphins will screw up. They'll do something stupid. They'll cost you 7 points. Somewhere or other in this game, the Dolphins will cost you 7 points. You can count on it. That's Miami. So I'm really not interested in I'm not looking for opportunities to back the very worst team in the NFL or close to it. At the same time, you're asking a Steelers team that, you ask Mike Tomlin, how does he want to win tonight's game? He'll tell you 3-0. Tomlin wants to run the football, rely on his defense, and that's that. Pittsburgh's not a team to lay, again, you're laying 14 means they got to win by more than 14. And I'm not going to ask the Steelers to beat a team by more than 2 touchdowns right now. They're just not good enough. They're a 2-win football team. So total-wise, I could see the Dolphins' defense has shown signs, and then they wear down when the offense screws up, and they give up touchdowns in bunches. The red zone offensive execution has been abysmal all year long, but they move the ball between the 20s. I don't have a strong sense of this total tonight either. The slightest of leans to, I guess you give me a free bet, I'll probably play under, but it's not with no conviction whatsoever. It's really not a game I've got a feel for, side or total.
All right, Teddy. Well, let's get into the opening line report here. Starting on the Thursday nighters, San Francisco at Arizona, seeing 44 being the total, with the Niners laying 8 or 8.5 on the road.
So, like we do every week, I want to give the look-ahead line. These are bettable numbers from last week. The Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas puts up numbers. Other books do as well. I use the Westgate numbers just because I've always used the Westgate numbers. But they put up bettable numbers for these games, so we get an idea of how much 1 week affected these point spreads. I also talk about my powering number for the game. So the look-ahead line here was San Fran minus 7.5. My powering number is San Fran minus 8.5. And the number's kind of settling in at 8 right now. The rookie head coaches tend to struggle on Thursday nights. And Kingsbury's a rookie head coach. San Fran off another, that was an impressive win yesterday. That game was over in the first quarter. There aren't a lot of NFL games that was over in the first quarter. Niners game was over in the first quarter. They own that team. And Shanahan's coaching circles around people right now. So you can anticipate. You say, where's the money going to go? I don't see Arizona as being a particularly popular choice this week. If you like the Niners and you've missed the early number, I'm not going to hurt you to lock in at 8. It's not going to go down.
And, Teddy, just a quick follow-up to that. With the Arizona side being at home, you don't think that factors in like a large amount compared to the fact of, like you said, Shanahan coaching circles around people?
The rookie head coaches, regardless of venue, have had problems on Thursday Night Football.
Okay.
And this is not a new thing from 2019. It goes back many years. It's a whole different cycle when you're talking about Thursday Night Football. It's worse if you're traveling, because then you have to factor in the travel factor into the equation. But if you look around the league, this has been you're looking for angles that are under the radar. The first-year head coaches on Thursday Night Football have struggled. I'll just leave it at that. I don't have numbers in front of me. I know LaFleur lost in that role already this year. There's a couple of this year already that have happened where the rookie head coach just it's a hard transition to come from a Sunday game into a Thursday game. It really is.
Teddy, let's move to the Sunday slate here. 6:30 a.m. Pacific time kick. We got Houston and Jacksonville, 47.5 the total. Seeing probably 2 is what I would call the consensus number. That's the Texans laying in this one.
Yeah, look ahead line here was Houston -3. My powering number is the Texans -2.5 on the neutral field. The impact injury for the Texans yesterday, losing J.J. Watt for the season. Again, the look ahead was 3. The Watt injury is worth something. And the Jags win yesterday. Again, Jacksonville with back-to-back wins. They're running the football. The defense is stepping up. I mean, Jacksonville is a team that is attracting some wise guy attention right now. So I think this line's more likely to move towards pick'em than it is to go up. But we're not talking about the key number right here. 1, 1.5, 2 is where this line's likely going to land. Which means if you like the 2.5, maybe grab. I mean, now might not be a bad time to grab a little Jags money line if you like them in that regard. But at least on first glance, there were 3s out there. The 3s didn't last, and they don't look like they're coming back anytime soon.
All right, Teddy, we got next game up here, 10 a.m. Pacific kick, Washington at Buffalo. Looks like the Bills 9.5 or 10 at home. Low total here, Teddy, seeing 36.5 is the total.
Yeah, look ahead line here was Buffalo -10. My powering number is Buffalo -11.5. And as we saw, whatever. The Bills played they didn't play their best ball yesterday. They ran into a team that came in with something to prove. And I think the weather conditions really hurt Buffalo. The Bills need to be able to run the football and need to be able to chuck deep to be successful. And the way the wind was blowing yesterday really negated their downfield passing game. And then Allen wasn't careful with the football, which is a problem that he's had. But the markets aren't excited about the Bills as a team to lay double digits with. All that being said, the Redskins there's one team. Sorry, there have been 2 games this year where a team has failed to score 10 points and covered a spread. The Redskins have both of those. And they've come in the last 2 ball games. They got shut out against the 49ers, lost 9-0 and covered plus 9.5. And they did it again last week. But I don't know who's going for quarterback this week. Haskins is not ready. And honestly, if Haskins is in this game, there's a 9.5 out there right now. The Bills might be cheap. Buffalo, I understand their defense didn't have a great game yesterday, but I know the Bills have a better game in them than the one we just saw. Washington, probably not so much. That's a dead team as we approach November, which thankfully, I'm really looking forward to the end of October. Will be coming this weekend.
All right, Teddy. Hey, Teddy, did you see yesterday what all 4 American sports leagues were playing yesterday? It really doesn't happen.
Yeah. What they call that? The triple witching hour or something? What's it?
I've heard it called the sports solstice.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but thought I'd.
No. I mean, for a bettor, it's a nightmare. I mean, it's a little bit too much. And then that's the problem that you come into at this time of the year. Is that you're trying to do too much as opposed to staying focused on what you need to be focused on. So, but yes, the sports solstice comes rarely, but when it comes, it's late October. That's the time.
All right, we got Tennessee at Carolina up next. Panthers laying 3 in the hook at home, 41 the total, Teddy.
Look at line here, Carolina -4.5. My powering number, Carolina -4. The market's at 3.5. Right now, I would not be shocked to see Cam Newton play. I would expect to see Cam Newton play this week. I shouldn't say that. There's a decent chance Cam Newton's going to play this week. All right. And the way the Panthers lost yesterday is the way you bench your backup quarterback after he's led you to 4 straight wins. All right. You're not the guy. I think it would have been hard for Rivera to bench him before yesterday's game. Now he can put Allen on the bench. No muss, no fuss. And Newton was throwing on the sidelines. There's talk that he will be ready this week. If he's ready, we'll likely see at least a little bit of Carolina money. Tennessee coming off back-to-back wins, fortuitous wins in both ball games. They did not outplay Tampa yesterday, but they got the money. And great red zone defense. I mean, the one thing that we can say about Tennessee, that red zone defense has been really strong, and that is always a good thing when you talk about this point spread range. But, of more than a field goal, again, a good defensive team catching more than 3 is something the betting markets tend to be interested in. I'm not seeing indications of that off the opener, just yet. And again, my powering number said 4. And that number goes up if Cam Newton is behind center, for what it's worth.
Teddy, we got Chicago at Philadelphia up next. Eagles -5 at home, 43.5 the total.
Well, now yesterday's games definitely, you could tell they were going to affect these point spreads, and they did.
Yeah, that
look at line here was 3.
Yeah, that was crazy.
My powering number post game is 5, which is right where the number is right now at 5-43. But we've seen the markets crash on Chicago. The books took a bath on the Bears yesterday. Every wise guy, many wise guys had the LA plus the points, and obviously got the money with the Bears losing outright in a game that they pretty much dominated. Both sides of the ball. Chicago moved the football all game. They stopped LA, and they found a way to lose it. And that's, the kicker missing a field goal obviously has been a problem for the Bears, but the red zone execution is the bigger issue. The QB play from Trubisky, the offensive line play from Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. All that said, the leading indicators are telling me that we're likely to see Bears money right about now. If you like the +5, I grab that sooner rather than later. We're not talking about the keyest of key numbers, but 5's a lot keyer now than it was a decade ago. You missed that 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden you lose by 5. So for what it's worth, I don't know these 5s are going to last. Despite the markets crashing on Chicago, the Bears defense is still a unit that bettors are interested in as an underdog. And it's an Eagles team that needs to be able to run the football to win. They were able to run the football yesterday successfully in Buffalo. But the market's not convinced you're going to be able to do that against the Bears here. Again, if you like Chicago, the +5, not bad to put in your pocket. Now, it's not the official emergency betting alert for today, but it's one that you may want to consider.
All right. Teddy, we got Minnesota, Kansas City up next. Not really seeing numbers out right now. Do you want to hit this one?
Yeah, real quick. Circa put up a 4 on the Vikings. My number for Matt Moore, who played much better than I thought he would last night. I'll give Matt Moore credit. Of course, didn't matter. Chiefs still didn't cover the number. But Moore was more than serviceable. He was solid. And I know I didn't really expect that coming in. All that said, my number, there was no look-ahead line on this game because of Mahomes' injury. My powering number with Moore behind center, Minnesota -3.5. With Mahomes behind center is KC -3.5. Obviously, I consider the two, that 7-point move differential between the two QBs. I thought it was higher going into last night, and coming out of last night, I'm like, it's not higher. So in my mind, the point spread, Mahomes worth a touchdown to this point spread anywhere in the, and again, the one number we have is that Minnesota -4, but that's only at one sports book who was brave enough to post a number.
Teddy, next 2 games up, we got a limited marketplace with the Monday night game tonight. But first one up, AFC East battle here. New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Talking about chances for the Dolphins to grab wins. This might be one. 41 the total in South Florida, 5.5. That's the Jets laying on the road.
I'm not sure Miami wants a whole lot of wins. From an organization standpoint, they don't. Remember, the Bengals are still winless. We've left Cincinnati out of this equation in some regards. Look ahead line here, Jets -6.5. My powering number, Jets -5.5. That's where the markets are right now. If the Dolphins hang tough on Monday Night Football, this number is likely to be a little bit shorter. Darnold, the poor guy's banged up. The Jets' offensive line's a mess. And they made a ton of mistakes in the loss to the Jags yesterday. They're not a team I don't think the markets are going to be particularly excited about laying more than a field goal on the road. But we saw that in the Redskins game where the Redskins went to Miami and a ton of Washington money. The wise guys all over the Redskins in that contest. Of course, the wise guys were dead wrong about how that game played out. The Dolphins, again, have certainly been better than they've looked. Even if Miami wins tonight, I don't see this line coming short. I don't know. It's not going to be like a Jets -3. It'll still be 3.5 or 4. They're not going to look at the Dolphins if they're snapping of the losing streak. If it happens, which obviously there's a long shot to do. Even in that situation, Miami plays great. They're still going to be dogs of a field goal or more.
All right, Teddy, the other limited marketplace game here, we got Indianapolis at Pittsburgh, 43.5 the total. Seeing pick'em or -1 for the Colts on the highway.
And that's funny because the look-ahead line here was pick'em. My powering number. So whenever my powering number comes out to be a half, I write pick/1 because it never comes out a half. So my powering number was pick/1, and the opening number is pick/1. So the markets are saying that we can expect this game to be pretty close to pick 'em. And again, even if the Steelers win big tonight, they'll say it came against the Dolphins. If the Steelers look bad tonight, Indy will come to chalk. But it's a kind of situation where the line more likely to go against Pittsburgh than in favor of Pittsburgh. You see what I'm saying? Because whatever the Steelers do tonight, the market's going to go, oh, that came against Miami on Monday Night Football. It doesn't matter. We're not going to be looking at Pittsburgh as this juggernaut coming in. Whereas if the Steelers look crappy tonight, we can anticipate some Indy support. The Colts, they're not winning by margin. They're winning ugly, but they got the job done again yesterday. And, some of that was Denver's play calling. Joe Flacco wasn't amused about that. We'll talk about that when it comes to the Broncos game in a moment. But Indy winning ugly is still Indy winning, and winning ugly in this game would be enough to cover the point spread. Again, this number can only go, I would think, could only go towards the Colts. Even if the Steelers look good, they're not going to be coming out 2.5 point favorites. They'll reckon the opposition, the level of opposition.
I agree with you. Indies looked pretty good out the gate. And Teddy, you bring up the fact, it never comes out a half a point, which you're right. But in the NFL, where I guess conceivably you can tie, there has been ties. Have you ever seen a half a point?
A game come out minus 0.5,
or not necessarily come out, just at any point there'd be a.
There's one book that used to hang them. I'm trying to remember who. It was a while back, and I don't remember who it was, and it wasn't anything that I was looking for. I was like, oh, I got to get this,
right.
Pick. If you push on one, you push on one. So be it. So so no, I haven't seen a lot of books open with a half. It was again, I remember one book used to do it. I don't remember which book it was. But it's not a commonality.
All right. Let's move on to the 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern kicks here. We got Detroit at Oakland. Looks like the Raiders, 2.5 at home, 51 the total, Teddy.
So I kind of feel like this is going to 3.
Yeah, Oakland looked good.
If I was going to play it, because this isn't a day with a huge emergency betting alert. There are a couple of possibilities that I wrote down and this would probably be near the top of the list. And then Penny goes from 2.5 back down to 2. So it's like, okay, maybe not. So I thought there was a decent chance this line was going to go up, and it did. It was a pick 'em, it was a 1, and it got bet up, but it's not going to hit 3 or not anytime soon. Look ahead line here was pick 'em. My powering number is Raiders minus 2.5. The Raiders were impressive again yesterday. They didn't get the win. They got the money wire to wire against Houston. And you wonder about a little exhale from Oakland after their, being away from home for the last 6 weeks. This isn't one of the stronger home field edges in the NFL these days. The Lions are what they are. They're a frustrating team to back in a lot of. Detroit is good enough to be winning these games and winning them by margin. But if ever a team shoots themselves in the foot, repeatedly, it's that Lions team that finds ways. And yesterday, the prevent defense allowed the Giants to come through the back door after they'd made 2 stops deep in their own territory against the Giants already in the fourth quarter. Couldn't get the third. The Giants got the money, which was good for my pocket, but Detroit got the win. Like I said, there's a decent chance this number goes up, but the last move that I saw was towards the underdog. So emergency betting alert, we can't do that when the last move's towards the dog. I do think there's a decent chance this one goes to 3. And if you like Oakland, I would lock in now. But it's not an emergency situation as we record on Monday morning.
Couple games left here, Teddy. And guys, check Teddy out on Twitter at Teddy_covers. He's 189 and 142. That's 57% in the NFL since 2015. That's over the last 5 years. 57% in the NFL. He's also hit 60% in the NBA since the All-Star break, so NBA season getting going, and 58% in the NFL and college football combined last year. So, guys, you can get his next 7 days all-access service at sportsmemo.com for just $69, less than $10 a day. That's $30 off the retail price at the website with the coupon code TC69 at checkout. That's the podcast coupon code TC69 at checkout. Less than $10 a day for his 7-day all-access package. That's each and every play he releases in every sport for only $69. Coupon code TC69 at checkout. Tampa Bay at Seattle. Up next, Teddy, we got the Seahawks laying 6 at home, 52.5 the total.
Yeah, look ahead line here. Seattle -5.5. My powering number, Seattle -7. Tough beat if you had the Seahawks yesterday. They were so in control of that game, they forgot to come out after halftime. And literally, I mean, that was a sleepy second half for Seattle. And again, a box score that's going to make the Seahawks look bad. And when you're talking about the running 3 games and the running 5 games that people use a lot, Seattle's box score numbers from yesterday against Atlanta look atrocious because they spent the whole second half playing prevent defense and let's keep everything in front of us. And we got a 24-0 lead and a 24-3 lead. Oh, we're still up 24-10. All right, we're still up 24-17. And they burned out the clock, but they gave up a bunch of yards in doing so. That is not a downgrade of Seattle. They controlled that game, but the box score and the algorithm guys will downgrade Seattle off that performance because that's how it shows in the box scores. The Seahawks getting outgained by hundreds of yards in the game at Atlanta. Tampa did a lot right yesterday, and then everyone said Winston, 4 turnovers, Winston, 4 turnovers. If you read the quotes after the game, Bruce Arians was not upset with Jameis Winston at all. He was upset with the receivers who weren't in the position they were supposed to be in. That caused a couple of picks. Tampa has 10 turnovers the last 8 quarters. If they can avoid those turnovers, they're better. There are things to like about the Bucs. There really are. And Seattle's not, as we saw again, they're not a team that's going for the jugular. Taking points with Seattle's been a very good proposition. Laying points with the Seahawks, not quite as good in recent seasons as their backers found out again yesterday. This line is, again, I was thinking about, all right, is this an emergency betting alert one? Is this 6.5 going to 7? No. I'm seeing no indication this one's on its way up to 7 right now. In fact, many of the shops are a leading indicator pointing down towards Tampa right now, plus the points, as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, Chris showing 6 in that one. And Teddy, next game up, Cleveland at Denver. Not seeing many lines out right now. You want to hit this one?
Oh, yeah. Flacco just got announced as being out.
Okay.
With a neck injury, and that's significant. That just got announced. Literally just now. My powering number, or the look ahead line, was Denver -1. My powering number was Pick'em. Without Flacco, I'm going to have to think about that. I don't want to do it off the top of my head, but much as we dislike Flacco, it's not like the Broncos have a great situation at the backup QB position either. Cleveland off another bad loss. This is a 2-5 team right now. If the Browns are going to do anything, this is supposed to be the week in the opponent they do it against. I would anticipate maybe Cleveland 3 as the opener here, as the new opener. As Flacco injury. Again, that's just come out. Let me find the time on that.
Well, yeah, and as we're talking right now on the odds screen, Sports Memo odds screen, it looks like some places coming out with numbers right now, seeing 1, seeing 2.5. So depending where, different shops are opening as we're speaking right now, Teddy.
Yeah, this involves 5 minutes old, not even. So I like that. Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news right now. So depending which side you like, Cleveland and Denver, seeing 1, seeing 2.5s, and anywhere in between. Teddy, next game up, 4-7-1, 4-7-2, Green Bay at the L.A. Chargers, not the San Diego Chargers, Teddy. 46 being the total, 3 with juice. That's the Packers laying on the highway.
Did you watch the game yesterday? Chris Myers called them the San Diego Chargers like 5 times during the broadcast.
Everybody.
You could hear because he kept on saying San Diego, and then you could hear like 2 seconds later, I mean L.A. You hear the voice in his ear saying, it's the L.A. Chargers, the L.A. Chargers.
That's the one, Teddy. I don't blame people. I mean, it's very hard to get used to this one.
No, L.A. hasn't adopted them.
I know. Not at all.
Brandon Allen, by the way, is the Broncos' backup quarterback. Brandon Allen, which is, the kid out of Arkansas. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. 6th rounder back in 2016. Has he ever played? I don't remember him playing. Let me just check it real quick. Yeah, I got him with no stats whatsoever.
I didn't think he was that good in college. I'm surprised.
I didn't think so either, but he'll be starting. he'll be starting against an angry Browns team this week. By the way, it's worth noting that Flacco's quotes about the coaching staff and their conservative nature that may or may not have cost him the game yesterday. They ran the football twice as opposed to taking a pass and then punted and allowed Indy to go down the field and kick the game winner. But I worry about that locker room right now. I'm seeing 2.5. That can only go to 3. Green Bay and LA, look ahead line was Packers 4. My powering number, Packers 3. The market's sitting at 3 right now. And again, this is one that I feel like it's more likely to go up than go down. And if we're going to emergency bet, I thought about Oakland as an emergency betting alert. I thought about Seattle. And I thought about this one, but the money's come the other way. But I feel like it's going to go back. I feel like it's going to go back up. I feel like Green Bay is likely to continue to, or even though the first bets have come on the Chargers at the Packers. But 3.5, no, it's not. This isn't an emergency. It's not an emergency. We don't have a legit emergency betting alert on today's game. Packers defense has shown a little bit of vulnerability the last couple of weeks. So is the Chargers defense. And again, the Chargers getting credit for a win in a game they lost. But the kicker missed the field goal. Well, the kicker missed the extra point and the field goal and everything else. There were a couple of games like that. Yeah. But I didn't look at yesterday's win for LA as a buy sign on the Chargers. And, at 7-1, the Packers, the public's got Green Bay right in the markets, too. Green Bay's a pretty darn good football team right now, both sides of the ball, even though their defense had a rough day yesterday. The offense was good enough to get the money.
Guys, we got the Sunday Nighter and a quick look at the Monday Nighter up next. And remember the coupon code TC69 at checkout for a 7-day all-access package at sportsmemo.com. The podcast coupon code TC69 at checkout. The Sunday Nighter, Teddy, New England at Baltimore. Looks like the Ravens are catching 3 in the hook. That's the Pats laying that on the road. 44.5 the total.
So explain this one, because the look-ahead line here was New England 6.5. 6.5.
Yeah. Off the look, it looks short to me.
I mean, so what happened between a look ahead of 6.5 and the 3.5 here? It's like nothing.
I can't think of anything. No.
Nothing happened. That's what I'm saying. It's like my powering number is New England 4, which is where the markets are. Maybe the look ahead was a bad number. Maybe that was the situation here. Through the first half of the season, the quote from Bill Barnwell today was, the record-setting offense in 2007, this defense is every bit as record-setting. No defense in NFL history has done what New England's done over the first 8 games of the season, and it came out of nowhere, and they're doing everything right. And if there's one team that's been a thorn in their side, it's been Baltimore. And if there's one thing they haven't seen is a really good offense with a mobile quarterback. And, much of New England's numbers, the markets are telling you that their numbers are a little bit fraudulent here. For what it's worth, the wise guys will be on Baltimore, and the point spread being where it is telling me that pretty clearly.
You think we'll see 3s by kickoff?
No, maybe no.
Okay.
That's my gut. My gut reaction is no, and then you're like, well, maybe there might be, but realistically, no. 3.5. If we see 3s, they will be bought up quickly.
I like it, Teddy. No. Maybe. No. Okay. It could happen, Teddy. We got the Monday Nighter. Let's quick hit it here. Dallas, New York Giants, NFC East battle here. 7. That's what the Cowboys are laying in MetLife. 47.5 the total, Teddy.
Look ahead line here was 9, and my powering number is only 4.5, and that doesn't happen at this stage of the NFL season. And I'm a little bit baffled why my number is so far off the market number here. It's not like I'm super high on the Giants, but there's things to like about the Giants. Danny Dimes throws 5 touchdown passes yesterday, 4 to his team. 1 was ruled a fumble and was the difference in the game against the Lions. But with Saquon Barkley back, the Giants are moving the football, and they're capable of moving the football. And it's not like Dallas has been blowing teams out. I have to look at that injury report for the Cowboys' offensive line. But again, my number came significantly shorter. The look-ahead line was significantly higher. So it's one of those situations where, and again, is this going to 7.5? It could, but I don't know that it's not like you got to get the 7 now. It's definitely going to 7.5. It's not an emergency. That being said, if you like Dallas, lock in at 7 now.
All right, Teddy. Good stuff as always, guys. Remember the coupon code TC69 at checkout. That's TC69 at checkout for a 7-day all access at sportsmemo.com. Teddy, anything you want to throw out before we shut this down?
Thanks for listening, guys. Good luck tonight. Good luck all week. Enjoy the games. And we'll do it again later in the week, Drew.
Enjoy the games. We'll have Teddy back on for college football, Every Game on the Board podcast, and we'll post that on Thursday. So, guys, until we talk again, have a fun, safe Monday nighter. Enjoy the game, and best of luck with your bets.